Krista.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, Monday squared, however you'd like to state it.
We're on to the 18th day in that crate. No, yeah, is that right? No, 13th.
No.
Sorry, 13th. It's going to be that kind of day.
What happened?
I mean, you guys need to babysit me this morning, okay? Yeah. So the 13th day. I'm so sorry of the month. Yeah.
Still way far into May.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it.
I know. We do have Joella. Let me make sure I get it right. Land with us. Good morning, Joella.
Good morning.
And she's with the Springs Valley Bank.
Yes.
Got a banker. Got to set up a little straighter here. Yeah. She's gonna count how many times mistakes I make. I'm sure.
Is she?
She's counting money. Yeah, I'm sure.
Recorded on her ledger.
Oh,
got it.
No. Look at that. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. So glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. All right. Let's talk about our sponsors first, Krista.
Coffee Club sponsors: Mediview Health and Rehab, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Roses, Fox Perlee Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Marshall Monuments, McAllister Land Consulting, First Harrison Bank, Louisville Bats, Schneck Hospital, and Springs Valley Bank and Trust.
Yay! In the house today, Springs Valley Bank. So glad to have you with us, Joella. And let's talk. We've got the Pacers are still going strong. They're going to win this. They're going to just win it all.
Isn't this exciting?
I know. I'm very excited. So I had to wear my Pacer gear this morning. I'm
ready
for a big win. And
looking very cute with
yeah,
that
I don't think there's any way they can lose this. So we're excited about that.
Real quick.
That's true. True, everybody. And then, so that's exciting. Let's see what else we got going on. I've seen a lot of our school children doing field trips, going places.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. 'Tis the season almost for the end of school.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I'm sure your son's yippee.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah. Yippee, yay.
My son did an early midterm graduation, but he does get to walk.
That's awesome.
During the actual formal event, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, are you excited? Because that's your baby.
He is my baby. He is my baby bird.
Oh, there's going to be tears. There's going to be tears.
No. That's just part of life. They grow, they get bigger, they do bigger and better things, and I'm just so proud of my son. Well, both of my children.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know what else is happening this week, ladies?
Let's hear it.
This is National Nursing Home Week.
Okay. Love that.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah,
it is a big deal.
Lots of stuff going on at the View this week.
I love that at the View. I love that. Look at you. So what are you guys got going on?
Yesterday was movie day, and
what movies?
They watched Bonnie and Clyde first. That was the morning matinee.
Wait, you're a scandalous over there. Look at you.
Let me tell you, some of the things they wanted to watch, I was like,
Joella, is this not hilarious? This is like, okay, things to look forward to someday.
We have a wide range of age ranges in my building. So,
Okay, Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde in the morning, and the afternoon matinee was The Blob.
Oh, my goodness.
Steve McQueen, The Blob.
This is hilarious.
It's great. They loved it. They had so much fun. Everybody's out there eating popcorn, eating snacks, hanging out. It was great.
That is hilarious. That is funny. Those are the two I would never have thought of.
That's what they wanted.
I love that.
Bonnie and Clyde was the one that they chose. Then they had a couple others that were just kind of like, people who were petitioning for her. And I'm like, I don't know, guys. I don't know about that. So we settled on The Blob.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. That's cool. Okay, so movie yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was movie day. Today is casino day. We have casino activities complete with mocktails this afternoon. And that's going to be big fun in the dining room. Tomorrow, spa day.
Oh. Yeah. Joella, let's stop in on that. Right?
Yeah. Thursday is complete with, like cucumbers on the eyes and the foofy, flavored waters and whatnots. Males and females, everybody.
Absolutely, spas,
relaxation. Thursday, this might be infringed upon by the weather, but it's outdoor games, and we also have a food truck that day. It's kind of a dual celebration. We've had a we've had a really good year at Meadowview to date. Again, knocking on wood here.
I love this.
But we are a deficiency-free building and a 5-star building.
What
and
a
we
blessing.
got lots of good things going on. So
Isn't that awesome,
celebrating
Joella?
with a
Yeah,
food
yeah.
truck on Thursday. And then Friday is Carnival Day with carnival games.
Oh, wow.
Oh, fun. I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So big week, lots of stuff going on
I think I'm going to have to stop by every day.
over on Anson Street. So.
I love that. No, that's fantastic. And, you know, I think it was last week was Nurses Week, wasn't it?
Yes.
So you guys
Busy
have been
that day,
rocking
too.
and socking them, you know what I mean? And hats off to all of them. You know, they're angels on earth,
Yeah.
on the earth. And then now it's Nursing Home Week.
Mhm.
I love that so
Yeah,
much.
Nursing Home
And what a
Week.
fun way to celebrate. Look at you. That's
I know.
a lot of
And then in June we'll have CNA week, and that'll be another celebration. And
party.
Becky's gonna help me a little bit one of those days.
Yeah, we're supposed to do
Wow.
like a red carpet, maybe,
Yes,
possibly.
a
That's
red
going to be
carpet award
exciting.
for
I
our
love it.
CNAs
I
in
cannot
June.
wait.
I'm just so excited about that.
This is cool. This
Yeah.
is awesome. Krista, I'm very happy. And I know it takes a lot to organize. And Joella, you know, when you're organizing, right? When you're
Oh,
organizing
yeah,
events,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a lot of work.
it's a
It
lot
is.
of work. Yeah.
Oh, it's not just me. I'm like
Well, and the
decoration
creativity
lady.
Yeah.
involved in coming up with those events. Oh, my goodness.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to be fun times. Fun week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, and then, you know, we all are ready for spring and feeling good and feeling better, and what a great opportunity to celebrate this week. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yep,
great.
yep.
And congratulations on being that good. We know you're that good, but it's so awesome, and you know your team is that good.
I know they
But
are.
it's so awesome when someone else notices.
Yes.
When the
Yeah.
state notices.
Yeah.
No, I mean, how did that? I mean, that had to be a huge
Oh my goodness. It's
moment.
To our knowledge, this is only the second time that Meadowview has gotten a deficiency-free survey in recent years, for sure.
I love that.
So, you know, that doesn't mean that we're perfect. That never means that
No.
a building is perfect. It just means that with the criteria that the surveyors look at, we excelled. And
Yeah.
so, you know, no one's perfect. We're not saying we are, but it's just really great that my employees really shined.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
they showed who they are and how they love our residents and how they care for them, and it's they get quality care at Meadowview.
So true. So true. Well, and then now it's time to celebrate.
It is.
Yes.
It is. So I'm going to stop bogarting the mic.
No,
about
you should. I love
Meadowview.
that. No, you need to be. Well, you got to toot your horn for people to
Oh,
see you
yeah.
coming, right? You got to tell that.
I'm
I'm
pretty
so
excited
proud of you.
about
Well,
it.
you should be.
Yeah.
You should be very proud of your team, and they need to be highlighted. That's wonderful.
do.
Yeah,
They
that's
do.
exactly right.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people don't realize what all goes on, you know, and
Oh my goodness, a lot goes on.
a lot
Yep.
goes on. Yeah.
Definitely need to celebrate those nurses and CNAs.
Yeah.
They're so
Yep.
underappreciated. I have a lot of
know.
nurses in my family, so I know how hard they work. Yeah,
Yes, they do.
they do.
And you know, it's not just their like education skills. They have to have so much
Oh,
people skills.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
maintaining your decorum when somebody's yelling in your face about, you know,
Sure.
you don't know what you're doing or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's many things that nurses have to deal with and to address and take care of, and we appreciate them.
Well, and Meadowview has got a long history of being a part of our community.
Yeah.
Many years, and you know, and many, and also the longevity of your staff, of everybody, of your of your. I shouldn't think of say staff, your family over there. Oh,
It
the
is.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
our peeps over here.
Yeah.
Eileen Nunley, one of our activity assistants, just had her 47th anniversary, work anniversary.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, Eileen's daughter is one of our nurses, and she has been there, gosh, I don't know, 20 some years.
That speaks
herself.
volumes.
So,
Wow.
That's crazy. Crazy. Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad you said that. So awesome. All right. We're on to the 13th day of May. Today is cough drop day. Joella, do you ever use cough drops?
Yeah, more than I want to admit.
Krista?
yeah, honestly, I'm a weirdo that likes the original Hall's cough drops.
Do you remember what was those
Good.
cherry ones everybody used to eat as
I
candy?
was just
The
thinking about
Ludens.
that. Yeah, so the
Oh.
Ludens, they didn't
Oh.
even
Yeah.
taste like cough drops.
No, I remember just getting those as candy. Yeah, so good, so good. Frog jumping day. I've got a bunch of frogs in my pond. You know what I mean? I made a water, pond, and I'm just loaded with frogs.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, oh yeah, they're just, and they don't even. Sometimes they don't even get scared anymore around me. You know what I mean? She's here. She's going to take care of us.
Like,
Whatever.
oh, that's Becky.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
she'll give us some food.
Yeah, yeah. I don't feed them, but they are very happy. So, International Hummus Day. So Joella, do you like hummus?
I do like hummus.
Yeah,
I do.
Krista?
I think this is a great day. I
Yeah.
love hummus.
Hummus, yeah, I do too. Leprechaun Day. Mhm. Do you
Why is
remember?
it Leprechaun Day?
I don't know. Do you remember? Like, I remember when the girls were in school, we always had to make a leprechaun trap. And having 6 daughters, I got pretty good at that. I mean, I really, I have little skills, guys. Okay, these are a little bit of skills. I can make a leprechaun trap pretty good.
Is
But
that putting something gold in a box?
yeah, you have to
Yeah.
attract the leprechaun. Yeah,
Of course you do.
Shiny things, right?
yeah. Unless if you can't produce a female leprechaun, then you.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Got to lure him in some way. National Apple Pie. Joella, like apple pie?
I do like apple pie.
Krista?
Yep.
Me too.
Good.
Mm-hmm. National Fruit Cocktail Day. What about you, Joella?
I do. I eat a lot of fruit, so yeah, I do like fruit.
Yeah. What about you?
Fruit cocktail makes me think about when I was little. But yeah.
Just like there was like really different things in fruit cocktail. I never knew all of the things. You know what I mean? I guess
know.
some of them are pears or
Peach,
peaches,
pear,
and like
grapes and
there's always a weird cherry. like-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, those little round cans with the pop open top.
Yeah.
on it.
Yes. Yeah.
I
I'm telling my age.
No, I do too. I think all of us.
I remember my brother always liked the grapes out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't
They were
know.
really mushy though. Remember?
No,
Yeah.
those were not my favorite.
Yeah.
I wanted the one cherry in the can, of
Yeah.
course.
Sure.
And somehow or another, you can get just the grapes in a can.
Oh, I did not know that.
Or I assume you still can. You used to be able to.
Well, do you remember? Was it like pork and beans though? Remember there was like a little piece of pork in there.
Or something.
What was that? What was that about? Like,
I don't know if I would call that pork.
what was that thing? I remember people eating that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No,
Oh
Let's
no,
look
I
that
know,
up.
I know. But I remember it was kind of like one little right.
What
What was that?
around when you were eating?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But
It's
then
the
there was.
token pork.
I
in the
know.
can of
It's
beans.
like, talk about search and find. I mean, right? Or stay away from. Yeah. I thought of that the other day. I thought, what was that about? Just putting one little piece of whatever that stuff is. Yeah, in there. What was that?
Who knows what it
Well, is this like supposed to be a little bonus, like or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's see here. Top Gun Day. Ooh, Joella, were you a Top Gun fan?
I can't say that it really was. I might have watched one of the movies, but
Okay.
yeah, I really
Krista?
wasn't.
I was a fan of the original with the volleyball scene.
Yeah.
was-
That volleyball scene was
That
like,
was the
yeah,
best part.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sad goose
Yeah.
died. That was.
Oh,
just
don't even.
heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Top Gun. Tulip Day. Joella, tulips.
Nice.
I feel like that should have been a few weeks ago.
I know that was the leprechaun.
Tulips
Yeah.
are done
Yeah, I
blooming,
know. I
think.
know. What about
Yeah.
you, Chris? Of
We
tulips?
had too many other days. They're packing them in now.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
I do like tulips.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the red tulips. I think it just looks so classy.
They are.
Just the red.
Very classy.
World Cocktail Day. All right. So there we go. Get out and
Fruit
enjoy.
Cocktail and world
Cocktail. Yeah. So
Mhm.
all the
So I
different
guess
cocktails.
that means any cocktail, right?
Yeah.
Any will do.
I think so. All right, Joella, let's jump in and meet you. And you are actually from Washington County here.
I am, yes.
Yay. So
Yeah.
tell us a little about yourself.
So I have been at Springs Valley Bank for 33 years.
Oh my goodness, I
Wow.
love that.
Yeah, I started
Would you
there
start
as
when you were 1?
Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah.
I started there as a teller part-time while I was in college. I went to school at IU Southeast and
Okay.
worked there part-time while I was in college and then just never left. I just kind of worked my way up
Yeah.
through the company. So yeah, it's been a great place to work.
So when you were going to school,
Mhm.
was this what you like? Was this on your radar that you wanted to do, or did you have something else you were kind of
I think I didn't realize when I went to work there as a teller how many different careers there really were in the banking world. Most people think about the people on the front line who count money to them, but my gosh, there's so many other things in banking that aren't the money related part of it. So,
Right.
Yeah, I was actually going to school to get a communication degree. Got a degree in speech communication and did an internship while I was a part-time teller there in the marketing department there at the bank. And that's when I started really realizing how many options there really were at the bank. So yeah, I just stayed around for 33 years now.
I love that. No, that speaks volumes right there. That's awesome. Well, I think it's funny. It's almost like it's a wonderful life. Like, what I mean, like when you're like going and you're thinking, oh, something else, want to do something else, but then you realize that your heart is there, and that's where you're, if you want to call your home, and your place that you feel. And isn't it funny how like that light bulb goes off and you're like, oh my goodness, 33 years later.
Yeah. It's crazy how fast time went by. I remember the person who trained me when I was a part-time teller, who is now my mother-in-law, by the way.
Well, this is just cute. Well, this is just,
right?
I feel like we're spilling some tea over here, right? This is good.
But
Okay.
she said, I've been here for 5 years. And I thought, oh my gosh, 5 years? Who works somewhere for 5 years?
That's hilarious. Isn't that's cute. That's good.
Yeah.
So you really are family over there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but did you think like starting as a teller that's like, I mean, that is like a great way to start because like
for sure.
really find out because tellers have a lot. They're the front line.
Oh yeah.
If somebody's, you have those that maybe are a little bit, concerned about things or those that are extremely happy or, you kind of got the teller and it's got a lot going on.
Oh, they do. I mean, they're the face of the bank when people come in, that's the first person they go to with any kind of, issue that they have. And then the teller will direct them to somebody else if that's what needs to be done. But yeah, I mean, that's who most people think of when they think of the bank is the person who waits on them every time they come in to cash a check or make a deposit. Yeah.
Right. And don't you feel that like that is so important? I mean, like, especially right now, like I'm going to say that like, and I'm not knocking other places, but a lot of times you have several different face or different changes in every occupation from food to everything, there's not that consistency person, if you will, a lot of times. Right. And I think when you're talking about money and you're talking about trust and you're talking about friendship and you want that in let's say in a bank, you know what I mean?
Right.
And don't you think that that's so valuable when you see that person and you come to that person every time and oh, hi, good morning, Joella. Hi, Joella. How's the kids or what's going on? Right?
Yeah. Honestly, I still have customers who, when I was a teller that I became close with, and they trust me. I am their banker. And through the transition over the years from going to being a teller to a banking center manager to deposit ops manager, and now I'm a commercial lender. But I still have those same customers call me when they want to get a rate on a CD or they need to ask a question about their statement. They see something on there they're not familiar with and they have a question. They call me. I'm their banker. I have been for years, and that's fine. I mean, you build those relationships and they carry on throughout the bank, no matter what part of the bank you work in.
I would call you. I would I would have you on my speed dial. Joella? No, I think you do. And I think that's important. And I think that right there is something that and I'm not trying to, some other places don't have that. And I think it's very sad. And I think you go back, if you will, to the basics. I mean, like I remember my parents like going to the banks and they had that personal relationship.
Yes.
You knew people and like, how's the kids doing? Or I watched the other day your child play basketball or baseball, or whatever, saw that, he did really good or she did really good or whatever, and I think that's something that is very unique and it's hard to find, and for whatever reason, we, our whole world has gone through a lot, and we know that it's hard to find employees too. And especially those, just like what Krista's talking about, some of those that have been there for years, and then now you're talking 33 years. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
That's awesome. So let's go back to the different job types you've had. Okay, we started off as a teller. So what was your interest in that? Was that just because you were young and you needed money?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, really, honestly. I needed a
no,
job.
I need a job. I needed money. Yeah. Yeah. But think of whoever hired you, whoever that person was, the vision like 33 years later. I mean, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I'm not the lone wolf there, as far as the length of time I've been there. We have several employees who've been there as long as I have, and several actually been there longer than me. So, I mean, that's a testament to what a great place it is to work.
Yeah.
And we're one of the few actual community banks still around. I mean,
Oh,
a lot of
yeah.
our smaller banks have gotten gobbled up by larger banks, credit unions, and there's very few banks I feel like that you can walk in the door now, and if you have an issue with something, or you are asking for an overdraft chargeback, it happens. People make mistakes, and we don't have to call Evansville or Bloomington or Indy to get permission to refund something. We just make the decision and we do it, and I think people feel comfortable, like we make the decisions. It's not having to call somebody higher up, and we'll call you tomorrow and let you know if we can refund a charge. It's
right.
We're a community bank, so there's not many of us left around.
I love that. And I understand the word community, so I don't mean to sound silly on this question, but so what is the difference then? Is it because it's locally owned, or okay,
yes.
explain that a little bit.
So Springs Valley Bank has been around since 1902.
Wow.
And there were a couple smaller banks. There was West Main Bank and French Lick Bank that merged together. We've got 6 branches now, but we're locally owned, and those are the only branches we have, are those 6. And we travel between the branches to cover for each other, so we get familiar with the customers in our other areas. But yeah, I mean, we're in our community. We all live here. We work here. We have kids who are involved in things, grandkids now in my case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we give back to local organizations in our community. We volunteer. Springs Valley School has the backpack of blessings. I think a lot of the schools have that now. We volunteer for things like that. The Habitat for Humanity build. We volunteer for that every year. We always do the electrical on the day that the electrical is done. But
that's fantastic.
Things like that. We get involved in what's going on in our communities.
Well, and I think that really speaks volumes. Whenever you don't have to, like you said, like when a decision needs to be made, it can be made.
Right.
You don't have to wait. Like, well, we have to call so and so, and oh, I'm so and so's on vacation, or what? Right?
Yes.
And you can get the information right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
And then it's insured too. Your bank is, which is something I've learned that sometimes they're not. Right? Is that true? Am I right on that?
Right. And FDIC, and we're FDIC insured, so your money is going to be safe. There are other financial institutions that aren't technically a bank that have some other type of insurance, and I really can't speak on that because I don't know the details.
Sure.
I can tell you that we've had a lot of new customers here recently. Mid-Southern recently got bought out by a big credit union, and there's a lot of people who aren't comfortable having their money on deposit at a credit union. So we've seen a lot of new customers here recently who want to be with a local community bank like Mid-Southern was.
Yeah.
They like that personal attention.
Well, I think it's good to explain that. I think a lot of times people don't understand all that. I mean, that's a lot, if you're Joella, you're, of course, this is your beat, this is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, we're just trying to, to figure out what's the best way to do,
right.
And to make sure that everything, and you want that safety when you lay your head down on the pillow, you want to make sure that, that you don't have to worry about things.
Right.
So I appreciate you explaining that. I was in a discussion the other day, and I didn't realize that there were some that were not necessarily insured or not, that there's a huge difference.
There is, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that kind of needs to be explained in that, because I didn't know that, and didn't understand all that. So,
and our branch in Paoli is not that far from Salem. I mean,
Paoli's a nice drive. Yeah.
We'd be glad to talk to anybody who'd want to come just sit down. And honestly, we've had a lot of customers who've just brought in that big packet they got in the mail from Beacon Credit Union and said, will you please help me understand this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to decide what I want to do. people just don't understand. And that was a big packet. I don't know if, if any of your listeners have gotten that in the mail. That is a big packet of papers. And I was a little bit overwhelmed myself when I started looking through it. And, we've had several people who've just wanted us to help them understand what in the world they got in the mail. And, in the end, some of them didn't move their accounts, and that's fine, but we're glad to help you understand what's going on there and decide what's better for you. If you feel more comfortable moving over to Springs Valley, we'll make it seamless.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's something that is very welcoming, because I think a lot of times, Krista's busy, I'm busy, we're all busy, and to be honest, I really don't want to know everything, Joella.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I no disrespect to you, you know what I mean? I've kind of got a thing going on over here. So I'm, but I want someone that I can trust and someone that can help me and explain the things, what's best for, and everybody's unique. Decisions, going to be based on the individual, but it's nice to have that comfort and that feeling of sitting down with someone and explaining things.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's fantastic. So I love that. You do have the 6 branches. Okay. So we have, am I putting you on the spot? I've got my fingers are ready, Joella. Okay.
So we've got Paoli, French Lick, Jasper, and then we have another branch in Jasper over on 3rd Avenue. And then we have Washington and Princeton.
Okay. Yeah. That's all 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great locations too. Yeah.
Where's Princeton?
Over
West of
toward I-69.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's a little bit, well, you're well located. And I think we talked about even possibly maybe opening our branch a little. Chris and I were talking about that, right?
We're going over this direction, I guess. Yeah. Chris lives in Salem.
Yeah. I think he
would love that. He would have a really short commute to work.
Yeah, he would roll out of bed and right here. Hello.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't.
Chris, you still have your slippers on. Chris, you need to.
With me being from Washington County, I've loved being in Paoli because I have spent the most of my banking career in French Lick and Jasper.
Oh, yeah.
And when the Paoli office opened and I started having the opportunity to work up there, I loved it. And when the commercial lender / business banker position came open and they offered it to me in Paoli, I jumped at it because I get to see a lot of people that I know from Washington County. They come that direction a lot. So yeah, it kind of felt like going home.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. And we like local people, you know what I mean? And that's, and we always talk about like local people, like even Chris too, you're going to see Chris at the grocery store. We're going to see Joella at the grocery store. You know what I mean? We're going to see you at games or things, activities. Yeah. And it's nice when you see the local people,
Oh yeah.
And that's always comforting, I feel too. Yeah. Now, okay, so let's go back over all of your job titles so far. Okay, so we started off, number 1, I feel like this is a game.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so we were a teller.
Yes.
Okay, then we go to?
Then I moved into new accounts and IRAs, and then did that for several years, then moved into banking center manager, did that for quite a few years.
And manager's just kind of like keeping an eye on everybody?
Basically, supervising all the employees in the banking center that are the deposit staff. Yeah, so tellers, new accounts people, keeping the banking center running smoothly.
That's a huge role.
Yeah, it is. A lot of responsibility. From there, I went to our Jasper office and was the deposit operations manager. So managing the group that is the back office that keeps the deposit running. So, all those checks that come in electronically, all the ACH stuff, all the balancing of the GLs, everything like that. So I did that for a few years and then moved into the role I'm in now with being a business banker and a commercial lender. Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Now, this role to me would be not the saying that the others aren't exciting, but this is pretty cool because what if somebody comes to you and they pitch an idea, and they are, giving their best. I feel like Shark Tank, you know what I mean? Right? You know what I mean? And to see if they can get that loan. I mean, that's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It is. I mean, this is it's definitely my favorite position that I've had at the bank. It really is, because you get to see people realize their dreams. I mean, they really come in there with a dream about doing something, and You sit down and you go over everything with them. It may be that they're not really at the point where they're ready to really, pull the trigger on it, but you can guide them and kind of lead them in what they need to do, the things they need to work on. And then you get to partner with them. That's usually what I tell people right off the bat is like, we're in this together. We are partners now. And I want you to succeed as much as you want to succeed.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I'm lending you money to make this dream happen. And, I want you to succeed too. So yeah, it's very exciting. My supervisor, who is the president of the bank now, he asked me when I had been in the role about a year, how are you liking it? How's it going? And I said, there's only one thing that I'm disappointed about. And he said, what is that? And I said that it took me almost 30 years to find the job that I'm supposed to be doing because I love this job.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do. It doesn't feel like work. I love my customers and I love helping people. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. You go back, I remember my dad talking about because, my dad started the radio station, and he had to have that banker that believed in him.
Yeah.
I remember him talking about that, and he would, name names that believed in me. And, and even though, to be honest, to start a radio station in Salem, Indiana, there was a lot of, I know this is surprising, but a lot of naysayers, and yet his dream was to do it. And he had the bank to help. And he was always grateful for that.
Right. Oh yeah. I get to hear stories like that all the time. People will come to me and, that I've been working with for the last few years, but didn't really know the whole backstory. And they'll tell me a story about how when all we had was the French Lick office and the West Baden office, that they came to Springs Valley Bank with an idea, and had it not been for whoever their lender was there at the time, they may not be in business today because they took a chance on them. And I feel like that's one of the good things about community banks is that, we'll really want to invest in our community. So if you're starting a business and you're local and we think it's a good idea and you can show us that, it's going to make money, you've got a business plan in place. I feel like we're more apt to take a chance on somebody than some big bank who doesn't really know our area.
Right. Yeah. Well, sure. And every area is unique, but I think just the opposite too. You're also very helping for that person, because let's say that, the person maybe, has got this brilliant idea, but maybe there needs a little bit of tweaking, and that's where your expertise comes involved. And maybe at this time, this is not the right timing, and maybe they need to go back and get a little bit more information, or maybe things, cleared up a little bit. And that's such a blessing that they have you, Joella, to say, here, do this a little different and maybe change things. Don't you feel that that's?
Yeah. And I can tell you too, that if, I don't have all the answers and I don't know everything about every business idea, but we have a lot of resources too.
Yeah, sure.
That we, people that we can send you to help you write your business plan. There's resources at places like Ivy Tech that will sit down with you, and they'll even do research in your market area to see other businesses that are comparable to yours, what kind of money they're making. Is it going to be a profitable business? Does it make sense? And, they could very well tell you this is not a good idea and, stop you from taking risks that you shouldn't be taking. But there's a lot of resources out there, and, we can definitely point you in the right direction if we're not able to help you get that plan all together. Yeah.
And Joella, I can get an amen maybe from Krista too.
Oh, yes.
Every good business plan has to have an advertising budget.
Oh, for sure. Yes, definitely.
The advertising budget, can I say that louder for the people in the back? Has to be in play, right?
Absolutely.
And it needs to be appropriate and
I don't know
appealing advertising.
And I, will talk with people and, who are opening up new businesses or, have, get a business plan and they'll say, what do you have an advertising budget? Didn't think about that, and I'm like, no, that has to be, again, Dolly Parton said it, you got to toot your horn for people to see you coming.
Yes.
I mean, you got to tell people what you got. So,
oh yeah, our faces at Springs Valley are splashed all over billboards everywhere. I mean, sometimes it's a little startling when you see your face that big on the billboard, but people come in the bank all the time and say, "Hey, you're famous. I saw you on the billboard wherever."
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's just part
it
of
draws
it.
attention. Like,
Yeah.
We of course advertise on the radio a lot.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah,
we
and
get
which
our
is
employees out there talking to people and recording the commercials and things.
yeah,
so,
you do. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I think that's important too. And I think, of course, I'm radio, but I think the wonderful thing is like Joella, we had Chris was very impressive and now you are too. And it's nice for people to listen to you and listen to what you're saying. And to, when you come to a bank and you come in and like, and I meet for the first time, I might not hear as much as I'm hearing this morning about you.
Right.
Because they're there to talk about them, if you will,
Oh,
you know what I mean? And they're there to talk about their loan they possibly want, their what they have, their finances or whatever, and you don't always get to share your experience and all your knowledge. And it's so awesome to highlight you here on Coffee Club this morning to let people to know what, 33 years, that's pretty impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, very impressive, actually. And I think you would have a lot of great knowledge. And I like that you started from teller and you went to several other jobs. It's funny. I get what you're saying about that. I wish I'd have started with this. This is fantastic. But you think about God's plan of like putting we're looking at all the different departments and and you respect each one and you know what their highs are, their worst days or their best days.
Oh, yeah. And, kind of on a personal note along that line, I have made so many lifelong friends in the different positions that I've been in that had I not been in that position, I probably would have never worked that closely with those people that I would have become friends with them. I mean, just like I told you, my first supervisor is my mother-in-law now. So,
you are really close, right?
Made some amazing friends that, I vacation with some of my friends from work that I no longer work directly with them, but we became so close while we worked together that, we're like sisters or, that we are family for sure.
That speaks a lot.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about like banking overall. So like our interest rates, what are we doing in all of this? Are we getting any better interest rates? I know, and I don't want to harp on COVID, but like that was a big hit for everybody. And we did see some low interest rates, but people were also scared. We talk about that, some people were very much rock stars and jumped in and took advantage of that. But then you had others that were like, oh, scared to death. What's going on? We don't know what tomorrow holds. Right.
Oh yeah.
So and then of course, then we kind of, now we're getting out of that, but what are we doing now with all of this?
I mean, as far as like commercial loans and ag loans, which I do ag loans as well. So,
what's that like?
I mean, that would be anything to do with farming equipment,
farm machinery,
purchasing farmland. Line of credit for your crops. I have a lot of farmers who have a line of credit they use for input costs in the spring when they plant, and then in the fall they pay it back when they harvest their crops. So yeah, we do ag loans as well. I have a lot of ag loan customers, actually several from Washington County. So
we love our farmers.
Yeah.
I love that. Give them the money. Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Show them the money. They need that. They feed us. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, interest rates right now, I mean, as far as like, in my area in ag and commercial, I mean, they're anywhere from 7 to 8.25, depending on what you want to purchase. Equipment loans are a little higher. Those short-term loans are. If you're talking about buying a farm, cropland, a piece of real estate that would be commercial, a storefront, a retail business, you're talking somewhere in the mid-7s. So they're not horrible. I know people they want to think back to that COVID time and compare those rates.
Yeah.
Those rates were so low. I'll be surprised if that ever happens again. But
that was just.
But one of the things we try to tell people is the rates, if they change, you can always refinance that. that rate is not a permanent thing. Rates start going down. Let's just refinance and get you a better rate. The all those fees involved in a loan are not as much when you're refinancing one that you've already got. We've already got most of everything taken care of that at the purchase. So yeah, I mean, rates aren't that horrible. That they really aren't. I think back to when I, built my first house, and they're comparable to what they are right now.
Yeah,
So
right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, 100% right. I think that's because I go back that time too in that area that I remember that. Yeah, this was pretty. This actually wouldn't be a bad rate.
No, I mean it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty normal. It really
I think
is.
then I think that was one and done.
Yeah,
that low, and I think that just kind of got everybody thinking. But it's also something. But this other's not bad. But I love that you talk about a hometown bank, and you talk about how apropos and where you're located that you do farming loans.
Yeah,
I mean that's awesome, Joella. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I was at work very early this morning, and we have our cell phone number on our card, because if you need to get a hold of me, you can call me. And we text, my customers and I text each other. I texted a farmer this morning and to let him know that we had the closing set for tomorrow for his loan that we're going to do. And he said, wow, you're at work early this morning. And I didn't even look at the time when I sent the text message. And I said, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I hope I didn't wake you. He said, oh no, I'm planting corn right now.
Yeah, that's right. You're not going to beat him up.
No.
Yeah.
No, but I was like, oh my gosh, I need to watch that. It was like 6:50 when I sent it this morning.
But see, that's awesome. I mean, and that's nice. And also because so many times you don't get that personal, and you have to wait, and then, the waiting game's the worst, but to say that, we're looking for it tomorrow, that's fantastic. That's great. And I love that you talk about being where you're at. This is our hometown. I mean, we all, in our county and the surrounding, our sister counties all around, there's so much farmland.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I first got to Paoli when I became the commercial lender, I've had a couple of local farmers who I knew from high school who came to me, and they were like shocked when they saw me in the office. They're like, whoa, I didn't know I was going to get to deal with you. So This has been really cool. Like I've got a couple of turkey farms that I've financed for people that I know, that I've known since I was, a teenager. So that's been really cool to be able to help people that I know, and reconnect with people from my childhood. Yeah. It's been really cool.
Boy, and that's extremely a great business. It's I mean, it's a lot of work, a lot goes on to it, but that's outstanding. And we're hearing more of them in our county too. There's a lot of great different farmland, and it's so nice to have that where they, if they need some new equipment, something breaks down, we know things happen, life happens, and that's a blessing,
Yeah.
So that's cool. So you do that in commercial loans. And
so, if you are looking at starting a business, maybe purchasing an existing business, if you've got an existing business and you need a line of credit because you're realizing that you're using all of your cash to purchase products or whatever, and you don't like the idea of depleting your cash, lines of credit are perfect for that kind of stuff, because you use that line to purchase the product. Once you sell it, you turn around and pay the line of credit back, and you put what profits you made off of that in your checking account, and you're not constantly using your own money for that type of stuff. So those are very popular.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now you're that loan officer. Are there other loan officers for other, like others that aren't commercial, maybe like a home loan or?
Yeah. So Chris Manship, who was here a few weeks ago, he is our mortgage lender at our Paoli office.
Okay.
So if you're looking at refinancing, you want a home equity loan, if you want to put in a pool, put a new roof on your house, those type things, home equity loans are great for that. If you're looking at purchasing a new home, Chris can do any of that. We also have consumer lenders, which would be things like buying a car, buying a camper, buying a boat, those kind of things. Chris does consumer loans as well, but we also have other ladies at the Paoli office who can do consumer loans. I do consumer loans occasionally. I
Mhm.
stay so busy with the commercial part of it that I don't do them a lot. But,
Sure.
I have customers who only like to deal with me. And if they want to buy a new car,
Right.
they'll come to me and I'll do the loan for them. So
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
yeah.
that's good. That's good. Well, I was going to say, do you ever have like that one person walk in and you see them go in Chris's office and then they come to your office where they're maybe doing a lot,
Yes.
they're building or a home and then
Mhm.
also the business. So like, you know what I mean? Just down the
Yeah.
hall is Joella.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And, a lot of times a customer will come in and they think they know what type of loan they're wanting. They may start out in my office, and the more we get to talking, I think, you know what, a home equity loan will really work better for this. Let's go talk to Chris. I'll walk him down the hallway, explain the situation to Chris, and then he'll do the home equity loan, and vice versa. Chris may have somebody in his office and they're thinking, I'm going to get a home equity loan, but I'm going to use it to buy rental properties. And Chris is like, I think this really would be better as a commercial loan. So he'll bring them to me. We'll look at, actually using that piece of property that they're purchasing as the collateral on the loan and do it as a commercial loan. So, yeah, we have those conversations to really figure out what's better for the customer. I'm not going to hog a customer just because they came to me and said, I want a commercial loan, because if I think that home equity loan is going to be better for you, I'm definitely going to let you go talk to Chris and have him do that for you. Yeah.
This is why you've been there 33
Right?
years, right?
Yeah.
No, I love that. No, and okay, we know you guys are looking after the customer, the person that walks in your door and, and there's so many different loans. I don't think people understand how many loans are out there.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. It's almost like I think of it as like a team. You have all these, let's just use, I'm going to use, because we're doing softball. Let's say you have a baseball or softball team and you've got to find for that person, which position is the best for them, which loan is the best for them.
Oh, yeah.
So like after you've talked to them and you've got to know them, like you said, you and Chris work well, and I'm sure there's others that you work with too.
Oh, yeah.
But we have had the pleasure of having Chris on, so that was fun. And now it's fun to have you on, and you guys are rock stars. You're awesome. and working together for that person. That's what matters to the Springs Valley Bank is that person that comes in your door.
Exactly.
And you think about that because like how many banks that they've drove by to get to you.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And that's because they trust you and you matter.
It's all about the relationship that you build. It really is. They start out with that checking or savings account, most of the time. And they build that relationship with those frontline staff. And when they need to buy a new car or a camper or whatever it is, they remember that relationship they've built with Springs Valley. And hopefully we're the first person that comes to mind when they think they need to get a loan. They'll come talk to us. But yeah, I've had customers compare us to the show Cheers when they walk in the door and everybody yells their name.
Knows your name. I love that.
Yeah, they're like, I feel like I'm on Cheers.
Norm, that's awesome.
Everybody knows your name.
That's cute. That's really cute. Well, that right there speaks volumes. So if someone, let's say Krista and I want to buy a boat, how would we justify that? Hey, we just need some fun weekends, right?
Come and you've got the credit score to do it. We'll do it.
Okay, I love that.
Doesn't matter why we want.
Yeah, why do we want that boat?
It's nothing illegal.
No. No, I'm just laughing, thinking, like how many people want those toys.
Oh, yeah.
And good for them, I mean, and everybody, life's too short, I mean, I'm all for, if you want the toy, buy the toys, I mean, but I was just thinking, I wonder how fast talking I'd have to do to say, to justify that I need a boat. You know what I mean?
You need one.
I need one. Yeah.
We need a
Yes. WSLM needs a boat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just thinking, right?
It would be the WSLM Meadowview boat.
There we go. That's exactly right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Advertisement right
there.
Let's ask them. That's exactly what we want to do. Absolutely. Yeah. We would let people come on our boat. Yeah. We would entertain our boat. Joella, you'd want to be on our boat.
Well, yeah,
we'd have fun. But I'm just thinking like that kind of stuff but you know what? we know businesses are important. We know, your income, your work, your job, farmland, farming, all of that. But then recreation is important too.
Oh, it is for sure. Yeah. Yeah. We do lots of boat and RV loans.
Oh,
Side by sides, motorcycles. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You got to have some fun in life.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Krista's
You
like really
just
thinking about this
thinking-
boat thing. I know.
I'm
Krista,
still thinking about having a party boat floating around on Lake Salindo.
I
That would
think
be
this
fun,
is
wouldn't it?
something. I think, yeah.
I mean, you put your logo on the side of it. It's a business.
Expense.
Have
That's
bands out there.
oh my
People
goodness.
sitting on the bank,
Absolutely.
sitting
Yeah.
around on the duck poop and all that stuff. It's great.
It'd be a good slide. Right on in. Slide on in.
I
Yeah.
love those little ducks, but they are poopers.
Yeah.
For sure.
You get the good, you get the bad. Yeah. No, I just wondered on that, you know what I mean? Because I think that's, I'm being silly, but I think it's true that recreation, and I'm all for people living your best life. You know what I mean? Living what you do. And we know that, and those are kind of fun loans, and I'm sure you enjoy those. And I'm sure, and watching someone, come in and be a little nervous when you're asking for money, right?
Oh yeah. There's people do get nervous, and really no reason to be. And sometimes we have to have those hard conversations and say it's really not the time.
Yeah.
There's things you need to work on before we can get to that point. But I'll tell you what, I've coached people into a pretty nice boat before. Let's get this paid off and this paid off, and I think you'll be in a good position. And yeah, I mean, I've had people come back to me a year later and say, here, I did everything you said for me to do. Can we do that boat now? And sure enough.
Yeah. Well, and going back on the, sometimes like people don't know their credit scores. They don't know their credit. They don't understand.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there can be some dings that they didn't know was there.
Exactly.
We know that. And so when you do that and you go to help them and you take them under your wing and say, clean this up a little bit, or work on this, or this is some things to do. What a blessing for people.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't understand especially credit cards, when you've got, a decent amount charged on a card, they don't understand what a big impact that has on your credit. Mm-hmm. Once you get to that halfway mark of your credit limit on a card, it starts to really negatively impact your credit score. And even just paying a loan payment late one time can really cut your credit score by quite a bit. So, it's really important to make sure you pay those loan payments on time. Don't ever let it hit 30 days. That's the golden number there. Don't let it be 30 days late, because that's when it hits your credit report. Yeah.
Right. And in that, if someone is, like you said, it might not be today that you're going to get the loan, but wait a year or whatever, however long it takes to get all that cleaned up and get it. And that's where I feel like that's something that's encouraging for people, you know what I mean? Because, then they have something to work on and good knowledge and good information to help them with.
Yeah. Because I mean, in those situations, it's not a no, it's a, let's do it later. Let's work toward it. I don't want to crush someone's dreams of getting something like that. So I'll do everything in my power to help you get to that position where you can get that loan. I was working with a truck driver here recently who last March came to me, wanted to buy a semi and go out on his own as an owner operator. He had been a company driver for years, and his credit just wasn't where it needed to be. And I said, let's work on this and this and this. I'm going to keep your folder. I'm not going to deny the loan. I'm going to keep it. We're going to keep in touch over the next year, and let's see where you're at. And I'm closing his loan tomorrow.
Yay!
So I'm really happy for him. Yeah.
Well, absolutely.
I mean, he worked hard to get where he's at now, and he did every single thing I told him he needed to do to get that credit cleaned up and get to the point where he could get the loan. And
Doesn't that make you so happy?
It does. Yeah. I'm excited for him. Yeah.
That's definitely time to celebrate. Yeah. I love that. That's awesome. That's good. And I think doing that and working with someone instead of saying, I'm sorry, we can't give you the loan. Mm-hmm. And we know that that's kind of sometimes the case.
Oh, yeah.
But at Springs Valley, like working with someone that maybe not, it's not going to happen today, but a year, like what you're saying, and explaining to them
Right.
what they can do to get where they need to be.
We celebrated every step of the way. He would text me, I paid off this credit card,
I love
paid off
that.
this little loan, and I'd send it back. Yay, keep going, you're doing great.
No,
So yeah, over a year we just kept in touch, and he let me know where he was at. And sometimes he had questions about whether, he was thinking about buying this, but is that going to make things worse if he, so I had to talk him down, like, nope, don't do that.
You're almost like someone's
Yeah.
sponsor too, right?
Right,
Yeah,
kinda,
like
yeah,
that. Just saying, no, not good. Stay,
Right.
stay the course, stay focused.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Joella, time goes by so fast, and we're going to have to get out of here. But let's go back over for Springs Valley Bank, your hours and
Sure.
information.
Okay. So Springs Valley Bank is open Monday through Saturday. The banking hours are 8:30 to 4:30 through the week. Fridays we're open a little later. Saturdays we're there till noon. I personally don't work on Saturday, but like I said, my business card has my cell phone number and my office number on it, so I get phone calls on the weekends, and I do not mind at all. If you're my customer, then we are partners in your endeavor. So I'm gonna, do whatever I need to do. But yeah, give me a call. My direct line is 812-936-5614. So that will get me right there in my office. And if you want to come talk business loan, ag loan, I'm there.
Yeah. And you're located right there in Paoli.
Right there in Paoli on Gospel Street. Yeah. Right in front of Tractor Supply. I think a lot of people know where Tractor Supply is at.
Yeah.
Just right, just a little bit down from Walmart. So
right.
We're real easy to find right there on the highway.
Love that. Love that. Well, it is so much fun hanging out with you. So will you come back and visit us?
Absolutely.
I'd love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. Krista, and fun morning. And you've got a big week ahead of you.
Yes.
Onward, ho, you go.
Lots
so what are we doing
doing
today? Today we had movie yesterday. What are we doing today?
Casino day.
Goodness. Hopefully big money, big money.
Yeah.
Roll those dice. Big money, big money.
I'm looking forward to the slot machine that has been concocted.
That's hilarious.
It was created out of cardboard boxes.
That's I would love every bit of that.
It's going to be a big fun.
Yeah.
Because there are 3 holes, and there will be 3 of us sitting in there, and we have things that the resident's going to hit a button or.
So you're going to be inside of it.
Yeah, there will be.
I've seen this. I've seen this. This is so much fun.
Hold up whatever it is that they rolled that time. I think it's going to be fun.
I love it. I've seen this before. This is hilarious. This is really cute.
I'm really hoping that my residents are going to have a good day in the casino day.
I think they will. So what is the saying? What is it? Baby needs new shoes. What do they say? Baby needs new shoes or something like that, right? Isn't that something like that? I don't know.
Mama needs a new pair of shoes.
That's it. Look at that. Joella knows. That's it.
We do have a casino in French Lake.
That's true.
This is true. You do know. That's right. So maybe on our loans, that's what Krista Mama needs a new boat. Needs a boat or needs some new shoes and a boat. I don't know, but anyway, Krista, keep up the great work and keep up the morale, the fun, and all the activities going on at Meadowview.
Yeah, well, I am not the primary on the fun crew. That's usually the activities department and our new social services director. He's chipping in too. He's having a lot of fun, and of course, my nurse managers are always a part of the fun crew. So I'm just along for the ride. I do, like I said, I do a lot of the decorations stuff. When they need something drawn or something like that, they handed it to me, and I take care of that part. So, but yeah, I am really looking forward to it, and it's going to be a good day at the View.
Absolutely, love that, love that. All right, let's thank our sponsors.
All right, Coffee Club sponsors: Meadowview Health and Rehab, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Rose's, Fox Per Lee Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mendigan, Marshall Monuments, McAllister Land Consulting, First Harrison Bank, Louisville Bats, Schneck Hospital, and Springs Valley Bank and Trust.